Hey, what's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome you guys to a brand new episode of the BoomBox Guru. But today's episode, man, we doing something a little bit different, man. I decided to start this new thing called the BoomBox Talk. Basically, where I just get on here and I talk about things mainly music related, but there might be a few times where I talk about things outside of music. But today on the first episode of BoomBox Talk, man, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite record stores, or actually my my only favorite record store in a long time, closing down, going out of business. So I guess about roughly 10 years ago, I think it was probably around 2012, 2013 maybe, roughly 10 years ago, I started going to this record store called Manifest Disc and Tapes. And I started going to this place because I used to get a lot of my music from Best Buy and a lot of the big chain stores, but Best Buy in particular started to really start lacking in their inventory. I mean, they were really good on new releases, but as far as like just having a wide inventory, a variety to choose from, they had really shrunken down. And of course, you know about what 5 years ago, they decided to completely stop selling physical music and whatnot. But prior to that, and this was probably around 2012, so I went there looking for a particular artist CD, and they didn't have it. And one of the gentlemen that worked there, he told me that one of the places that more than likely would have it would be Manifest. So I looked the place up and got the address, and I started going down there. My aunt, she actually went down there with me one time, and she showed me a really cool shortcut to go to get to the place faster. Which once I learned that shortcut, I was going down there even more frequently. But but anyway, man, I remember the first time I went to this place, and man, it was like walking into a record store paradise, man, because they just had such a great inventory of music, man. I mean, they had CDs, they had vinyl, they also had like apparel, like you could buy T-shirts and stuff. They had movies and things of that nature. They also had like electronic accessories, like record players, wireless speakers, headphones. They had all kinds of stuff. They even had like toys, man, like collectible toys and Funko Pops and things of that nature, man. They just had a lot of cool stuff, in this place, man. And but my main reason going down there was for the CDs, man. And I can tell you, man, it was like being in media play again, or being at this other record store my mom used to take me to when I was a kid, called the Sound Shop at our local mall. It was like being there again, because they had so much to choose from when it came to the music. I mean, they had stuff there that I didn't even think they were still pressing. And I remember one time in particular, man, I went there and I know I stayed in that place at least about 8 hours, because they just had so much to choose from. I was finding so much good stuff, and I was like, man, I can't leave here without getting this. I can't leave here without getting that. And anybody that's watching this, you know what I'm talking about, cause I seen plenty of people talk about this place, about how they've gone in there and they spent like close to $100 or more in that place, man. Cause it really gets that way. It really got that way when you would be in there, man. And I'm just talking about the new CD section, but the used section, yo, their used section was really popping, man. I found so many rare gems in that used section. I mean, this is stuff that is not even in print anymore, and I will find it in that used section for a really reasonable price. Uh, a few CDs that I found that come to mind is Pharoah Monch, his first album, Internal Affairs, his first solo album. Found it in the used section, in the used CD section. I think it was like $30, but it was in good condition. And that CD, Internal Affairs, has been out of print for years because of that. I think that Godzilla sample that he used in the Simon Says track. So it's been deleted and out of print for years, and I found the physical copy of it. I think recently it's been available for streaming and digital, on digital platforms. But I found the physical copy of it. George Clinton, The Cinderella Theory. I found that at Manifest, for a reasonable price in good condition. And that's one of the two albums that he did on Prince's Paisley Park label, which you can still find. Hey Man, Smell My Finger. You can find that online pretty easily. But Cinderella Theory, those albums have been out of print for a long time, and I found that one at Manifest for a real good reasonable price, man. There's a lot of stuff I found, like some classic punk records, metal, rock, whatever you name it, man. I found a lot at this place, man. So it was really a bummer when a friend of mine, he sent me a message on Facebook, and it was from their Instagram page where they announced, and this was on Thanksgiving. They announced where they were going out of business. After 20 years, they were going out of business, and they were having their liquidation sale, basically like on their Black Friday. And man, I was really bummed out. It really sucked, man, cause I got so used to going to that place, man. Especially like on my days off when I really didn't have no plans. I usually would always go down there, or I would make plans to go down there just to see what they have and things of that nature, man. And I always left that place with something, man. But I did notice, like, last year, during the whole, virus, whatever the situation that's been happening, I did notice their inventory started to change. It started to shrink. I think they had got bought out by another company called Sunrise Records, and I did notice a change in the inventory. Like, things were starting to like get a lot smaller. Like, their heavy metal and hip hop section used to be really big. It used to be like both sides of the racks or whatever were like heavy metal on this side, heavy metal back here, hip hop right here, hip hop right there. I mean, they used to have like two sections of it, and I started noticing that once this happened, it started shrinking. I started noticing it started shrinking a little bit, and as a matter of fact, I remember when Body Count released their latest album, Carnivore. I actually went down there to get it, and they didn't have it, and I was kind of bummed out because they was usually good about having new releases out on the day of release, and they didn't have it. And that was actually the first time I ever left that place without buying anything, because I was kind of really bummed out. I was like, dang, man, I really drove down here and they didn't have it, and there was no other options because the only other record stores I knew were way farther away from this place, and the places I used to go, like Best Buy, was no longer at that point was no longer selling music, and the like little mom and pop record stores weren't gonna really have something like that unless it was on vinyl. So that was the first time I actually walked out of there without buying anything, and I ended up ordering it from Century Media, and I don't know, I don't think they ever even really had that CD in stock from what I remember, man. But it's just around that time I started noticing that the inventory was getting smaller and stuff like that. And of course, the whole like pandemic and everything happening, I'm sure that put a damper on a lot of things too. But in 2021 though, I started noticing that things were kind of like beefing up a little bit, man. I started noticing that the heavy metal section was starting to get a little bit better. They were starting to get in a lot more inventory. I started to notice the hip hop section was beefing up a little bit more. The rock section has always been pretty decent. It's always been pretty well stocked, as well as the punk section and stuff like that. But things started kind of looking a little bit on the brighter side, man. The used section was slightly getting better, although the hip hop section stayed pretty scarce. Like, I don't know what happened. The hip hop section just got really skimpy, man. Like, a lot of times I would go in the used section. I mean, let me clarify. The used section, I don't know. The rock section was pretty well stocked for the most part, but the heavy metal used section, not so much. Pretty scarce, as well as the hip hop used section stayed pretty scarce. I don't know. It never really got back to what it used to be, man. Because you go to the hip hop section, the used section, and it would just be packed slam full of so much, as well as the heavy metal section, man. But it never really got back to what it was. But every once in a while, I would go through there, and I would find something. Man. But the used section, it was all right, man. At that point, like I said, the rock section was pretty cool. But as far as like the hip hop and the heavy metal section, even the R&B section, they really never really got back to what they once were. Prior to like 2020 and everything that happened, they never really got back to what they were. So and like I said, man, the used section was crazy, man. You was always like finding like so much, like so many rarities and everything, and it just never really got back to what it was, man. But and anyway, you know, it just really sucks, man, because this place was like a music superstore. It was like a music superstore, and you just don't have places like that around anymore. And I know you have like a lot of these mom and pop record stores that are popping up now, and that's cool, but they mainly just specialize in vinyl records. And as you can see back behind me, I have a vast collection of CDs and stuff like that. But I'm not really much of a vinyl guy. I mean, I do have vinyl records, but I'm just not really into vinyl like that. I did go through a phase about several years ago where I was buying vinyl, but I'm just not really into it like that. I'm more of a CD guy. That's how I roll. And a lot of these used and mom and pops record stores don't really have a lot of CDs. I mean, they have CDs, like used CDs, but it's usually stuff that you already have or stuff that you really don't want or that you're not into. So it's just a bummer, man, because I guess now I'm regulated to just ordering stuff online. If I want something, man, because I know these mom and pop stores are probably not gonna have it. At least the ones that are near me. Now I might have to travel like a good distance to another one that may have something better. But who wants to make those trips on a regular basis? That's something you kind of plan out and you do on a day that you really ain't got no other plans or whatever. You know what I mean? But it just really sucks, man, because I really liked the staff that worked there, because a lot of the staff there, you could tell that these people were music fans. A lot of them were musicians as well. A lot of them worked in music. A lot of them were in bands. A lot of them were like worked at recording studios and stuff. A lot of them were into like the arts and creative things and like that. And they knew a lot about music. I mean, there was one particular gentleman. He had been left the place way before they even announced they were closing. But when he worked there, man, he used to always put me up on a lot of good punk and metal and hip hop and stuff like that, man. He even had a band that he was in. I don't know if that band is still active, but they were called Harry Hunter. But yeah, man, he would put me onto a lot of good stuff, man. He was the one that told me about the White Mandingos, that project that Murs did with Daryl Jennifer of Bad Brains at Sasha Jenkins. He told me about that. He told me about a lot of good stuff, man, that I'm into now, that I listen to on a regular basis, man. He used to see me come in there and buying like Bad Brains CDs and stuff like that. A lot of punk and metal and hip hop, and he would put me onto a lot of good stuff, man. And a lot of the people there. One gentleman, I went through a bit of like a traditional jazz phase, and this one guy, he put me onto like a Lee Morgan album. I think it was called Sidewinder. He put me onto that. And another guy, he was the one that told me about Prince's music being highly sought after on vinyl. And this was before Prince had passed. Before Prince even passed, his music was always highly sought after on vinyl. And I overheard him actually telling somebody that, because Prince's first album, For You, was over on vinyl, and I heard him telling one of the other guys that worked there, it's like, man, I'm surprised nobody's gotten this Prince vinyl, man. His stuff doesn't last. His stuff doesn't last long on vinyl, man. People usually pick it up quick. And I remember when I heard him, I went right over there and I found it and I picked it up. And he saw me get it and he was like, man, I knew that. He's like, I knew that record wasn't going to be around here too long, man. Like, his stuff just sounds better on vinyl. That's what he told me. So the people that worked there, man, they were well versed in a lot of the music, man. They could definitely tell you a lot about artists, particular albums and things of that nature, man. That was real cool, because you don't really get that much anymore. And I'm that type of person. I always like to put people onto like good music and stuff like that. So it was really cool to get to know some of the staff there, and then put me onto like different artists and stuff that I might not would have even bothered to check out had they not told me about it. But it was just a really cool place to be, man. It just really took me back to the past, like when my mom used to take me to the record store out at our local mall, or back when Best Buy used to have a really good inventory of music, and we would go there, or I would go there as I got older and buy my own stuff. It just really took me back to that, man. And it really reminded me of like back in the days when Media Play was around. Excuse me. Because Media Play had a really good inventory of music. it was, to me, this place was like one of the last like music superstores that was around, man. It's just really a bummer that it's not around no more, man. It just really sucks, man. Like some days I find myself like on my days off thinking like, hey, maybe why don't I just run down the Manifest, and then I remember like, dang, they closed, they're out of business, man. It just really sucks, man. And I don't know what's gonna happen. They're probably gonna turn the place into like a boring furniture store, or maybe a car dealership. Who knows? They're probably gonna turn it into something boring nowadays, man. It just sucks, man. But yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest, man, because you know, I just, like I said, man, you just don't have record stores like that no more. I mean, yeah, you have the mom and pop places, but like I said, man, they mainly focus on vinyl, and their CD inventory isn't always the best, man. I mean, they have a lot of good like used CDs, but a lot of times it's the same old stuff that you see when you go there, or it's just stuff that you're not into or that you really don't want. So it's just really a bummer, man, that this place is gone. And I think Manifest was actually one of the last few Manifest records that was around. I think the other locations have closed years ago. And this place was essentially a FYE, because I know when I would go on FYE's website and look up FYE locations, their address would always pop up on the map. So this place was essentially a FYE, man, but they were allowed to keep that original name of Manifest, man. But it just really sucks, man. And I don't know, man. Maybe something better will come up. I don't know. But as of now, most of my CD purchasing is probably going to be me scavenging like thrift stores, going to like bookstores that sell used music, or maybe their mom and pop places. Maybe I'll scour their used CDs hoping to find a gem or whatever. But it's just really a bummer, man, because places like that, man, this place was like a dream come true, man. It was like, yes, man, we still have something like this again. And I had kind of been having my feelings that this place was going to end up going out of business. But I was kind of thinking, well, maybe I'm just being a little paranoid, but I'd be daggum if it didn't happen, man. But yeah, man, listen, I'm not trying to knock digital platforms, streaming or nothing, because digital and streaming has its place. It has its place, man. I stream. I have a Spotify account, that I use. I still use iTunes sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But I just wish that things could get to a point where, why can't physical and digital just coexist? You know what I'm saying? Why can't they just coexist, man? Why does it have to be one or the other? And it just really bums me out that this place is gone, man. Cause shoot, I don't know, cause the other, I mean, there's other record stores, and there is another record store in the area, in the particular city where this place was. But I mean, they mainly focus on vinyl. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know if there's ever going to be any more really good CD superstores again like this place was, man. But yeah, that's all that I really want to talk about, man. Was like, my favorite record store going out of business, and how I felt about it. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of BoomBox Talk. If you can do me a favor, man, hit that comment box, and you guys can let me know how you feel about me doing this whole thing called BoomBox Talk. Just let me know your opinions, constructive criticism, please. But just let me know your opinions if you're feeling me doing this from now on, and stuff of that nature, doing this every once in a while. And if you did like this video, if you could do me a favor, just hit that thumbs up and give me a like. It helps with the algorithm. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell. That way you'll be notified anytime I drop new content. Also, I want to take the time to thank all my subscribers, old and new, everybody that's been viewing and watching the videos. I truly appreciate it. And as always, hope everybody has a great new year. And I hope everybody has a blessed day, a blessed week. And as always, love, peace, and music. Peace out.